Hey everyone, welcome to the Roundtable with Vienna Whyte, Season 1, Episode 32. I'm your host, Millie Rouge from the band Vienna Whyte here in Edmonton, Alberta. This roundtable is a YEG music production. Thank you all for tuning into the show today. I would like to first introduce you to Ashton. Ashton, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
How's it going? I'm Ashton Hamill. I'm with a band called Another Year Unknown. We are a trio. Play like early 2000s pop punk kind of style stuff. And yeah, we're based in Atlanta, Georgia.
Awesome. And Karleh, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Karleh Wilson. I'm a singer-songwriter in New Orleans, Louisiana. I've kind of traveled the country for a while, but I'm back home. And when I moved back home, it immediately became very easy to write music and collab. So I'm really happy to be here.
Awesome. And Brandon?
Hey, I'm Brandon. I play in a rock band based in Toronto called The Fame that I founded with my buddies. And yeah, we're living in Toronto, and that's our story.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much. All right. So really quickly, I want to just go over a little bit of your guys' musical journeys so our audience can get to know you more. Ashton, can you tell me a little bit about how your band started and to where you are now today?
Yeah, so we started back in 2018. I currently work in film industry and stuff like that in Atlanta. And I wanted to start something that kind of had a foundation of the early 2000s pop punk genre style. That's what I grew up listening to when I skated and all this stuff. So it's always inspired me and made me pick up a guitar, write, and all that. But basically our message to everyone is to kind of keep chasing your dreams. It seems like as you get older, you kind of lose that whole view of, oh, I want to do this or that, like the dream, and you get stuck paying bills or whatever your case may be. So the three of us all working jobs and all this stuff, but we're really trying to pursue our music career. This is our goal at the end of it, is to have a hopefully somewhat meaningful music career and get people inspired and get out there and kind of chase their dreams a little bit. So yeah, we just try to have fun with it and try to make people at our shows enjoy it, have a good time, and kind of forget about the real world for a little bit. Yeah, that's what inspires us to keep writing music.
Awesome. And Karleh, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into the music world yourself?
Yeah, so I actually come from a very musical family. I'm from southeastern Louisiana, which is like an area with like a very deep heritage that's connected to music. So yeah, I don't really know anyone in my family that doesn't do music. I was raised in that capacity, but I did sports. I did a lot of different things. Like I'm also a writer. But music is like always that thing that like when I visit family, especially when I visit my dad and he's playing his guitar, I would always get emotional, like, man, like I really need to be doing music. So for 10 years I was outside of Louisiana and I went to college and I didn't do any music when I was in college. And it was actually, I realized it was like really bad for my like emotional and mental health. So after I graduated, like I started doing music again, just to get like back on feel myself again. And then when I moved back home to Louisiana, it was just like immediate. It was just like, I was just surrounded by like visual art as well as music. And so it was just really easy to just like get back into writing and like meet people who I could collaborate with and like getting in the studio. It was just like not hard at all. It's just amazing. So I also dance with some local bands down here. So I just try to like be involved as much as I can because I know like how important it is to like my health.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Brandon, can you tell us a little about your band and its journey with music?
Yeah, we actually came together in a really unusual way. I was very, very green to the music scene in Toronto. But I knew no one in the industry. I knew no one that was really a musician. So I just went on Craigslist and Kijiji and like started looking, and I eventually joined this band as a rhythm guitarist, and this band called Dirty Green. We never made it out of the rehearsal room though, but I met my good friend Yusuke, who moved here from Osaka, Japan. to pursue the dream of being in a band. And we became good friends, and we decided to form our own group. And then through other online ads, we met our bass player, Andrew. And then through other circumstances, we met our drummer, Rodrigo, who's from Santiago, Chile. So we're kind of like a eclectic, international mix, all stirred up in one pot.
That's actually really awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Very rare, I feel like, that you find that. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I wanted to jump into our topic of the day. So our topic of the day is meaning to the music. So, I mean, it is kind of a broad topic. But my first question for you guys is, every band or artist has something to say with their music. Why do you think this is important for an artist to have a message rather than just jumping on stage, singing, no message? Why do you think it's important? Karleh, did you kind of want to start this off, and we'll work around everyone and see what everyone has to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in New Orleans, I do a lot of artist development with some of the bands that I dance with, and what I see is one of the main components of the performance is connecting with the audience. There, and it's not always about hitting all the perfect notes, or it's not always about that. It's about making sure that the people that you're singing to, the people that you're playing for, feel like you're a good person, and they can trust you, that you're gonna entertain them, but also they're gonna leave having a good time. They can take a bunch of shots, drink as much as they want, and you're gonna still be there singing to them and bearing your soul. And I think that a lot of that has to it starts with the fact that what you're singing means something.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ashton, now you're from a pop punk band. I'm curious to know what you think kind of your message has to say with someone, and why do you think it's important?
Oh yeah, I mean, engaging with fans, friends, family, whoever may be at your shows, or just listening to your music in general is huge. Being yourself, I think, is most important. And when you're on stage, being yourself, not trying to be someone else or act like someone else. Obviously, you have influences and stuff like that, so it's cool to bring those people into your life if you want to resemble that. But yeah, engaging with fans is huge. We have a song off our first EP called Wickedness, and I had this I guess it's not like a story. It's like a trying to think of it. I guess just call it a story. I wrote this little story, and I really wanted to use it somewhere in our, not really in the song. Wasn't thinking to use it in the song at first. It's just like our bio message kind of to the people to understand who we are and what we're about. We ended up putting it in the bridge of the song as this little megaphone kind of reaction thing. It's really cool. Yeah, just engaging with your fans is huge. Having fun, making them feel like they can be your friends and relate to them, and even online, commenting back to them, stuff like that. And I mean, that's huge. It could make someone's day. You don't know how much you help them out through their day with your music or whatever. I know music's one of the things that I can listen to and kind of escape right now, and it makes me feel all kinds of emotion. It's like how movies and stuff act. Music's like that for me.
Absolutely.
I think
yeah, no, I totally agree. I think pop punk is really cool because I think it's kind of got this rep for being, it's not really having much meaning, but I think it is so lyrically beautiful, most of the pop punk songs that I do hear. So I totally
singing out of key too. So
yeah. Exactly. Now, Brandon, I had a separate question for you. But what message do you think that you yourself as your band gives to your audience and listeners? I know you said you've got a really multicultural band already, so I'm sure you've got lots of different influences. What message do you guys really kind of bring home?
Oh wow, that's it's tough. I hate answering questions about myself.
Fair enough.
I'm sure many other artists feel that way, but yeah, I would like to think that the message is just I'm sure it's different in every song, and everybody kind of comes up with their own interpretations of what a song means to them. But I just feel like if the song can't get a message across or can't pull some sort of emotion from somebody, then I don't think it's doing its job. So I'd like to think, I guess we have one song that's been our most popular from our first, like, our debut EP, which is called Wide Awake. And it's kind of a song that's about, like, feeling down and maybe realizing that it can get a little better, which is, I guess, the point of our music is, you know, if somebody's listening to it in whatever mood or feeling they might be in at the time, they can help express that and maybe make them feel a little bit better and help them get through the day a little bit. That's my explanation.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a question for all of you. I want you all to answer individually.
Yeah.
Would you rather be an artist who made millions performing songs that you have never written, or would you rather be a mediocre artist that always writes lyrics to their own music and all of that? Which would you rather have? Because it's kind of a tough question. And mediocre meaning like you play like your local gigs here and there, you know, you make your money slightly, but not as much as your $1 million, you know, songs that are not yours, not your content, not your meaning behind it.
Ooh, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a huge singer-songwriter fan. So if I find out that somebody didn't write their own music or didn't write their own lyrics, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. What about you guys?
I agree. For sure. I think it's my escape from reality. So me sitting down, picking up the guitar, writing lyrics and writing guitar riffs or whatever it may be, and then going to rehearsal and showing the guys, Chris and Andrew. Andrew's our drummer and Chris is my bassist. Yeah, showing them what I came up with. I mean, and especially if people have a reaction to what you've written, there's so much more personally, I feel, gain versus money or whatever. Obviously, money's great and helps out with stuff, but at the end of the day, if I can sell out a crowd locally and they know the lyrics to my songs, I feel like that's more beneficial than having someone else tell me.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I can't even sing covers that well. Like, I've definitely had people ask me to sing covers and I'm like, oh, like I much prefer, I'm gonna sound better if I sing my own song.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It comes from the heart, so I totally agree. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I'm curious to know what things outside of music do you stand for and are you passionate for that's not about music, but maybe something that says a little bit more about you as an individual. Ashton, what kind of things do you think maybe you stand for? I know you said you're into film as well, but what are some things that you stand for?
Yeah, I have a huge passion for film. It's something I've grown up doing since I was a teenager. I grew up skateboarding and riding motocross, racing motocross and all that stuff. So I've always been into action sports, and I got hurt a lot on the dirt bike, so I started picking up a camera and filming my friends that were better than me. So I have a huge passion for skateboarding, motocross, making videos and all that stuff, working in film.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
We've got a special guest here.
Hey.
She's so cute. I was creeping her Instagram earlier. She's so cute.
Aw, say thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Karleh, the question, this actually might tie in perfectly to our brand new guest here. The question was, what things outside of music do you stand for or are you passionate for in your own life?
Yeah, I'm really passionate about like social justice, but most importantly, housing. I just feel like housing is like the center of everything. Like, if you have a place to live, like there's so much you can do. Like, and I just feel like people who are housing unstable, or, you know, couch surfing and just flat out homeless, like they have so much potential. And a lot of people, like once they get like put into housing, like especially artists, like they just start producing so much and like things really take off from there. So I'm really, really passionate about housing. Also children. I love children so much. It's crazy.
Me too. I feel that on a spiritual level. And I think that's really important. When it's so true. Like a lot of musicians do work strictly out of their home. It's their home studio. It's their practice space. So for us, our home is super important. Brandon, is there anything that you kind of think that really stands out that you stand for yourself individually that you really are passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, I like Ashton, I also have a huge passion for film. I watch movies all the time, watch a lot of TV shows, mostly cartoons, but still counts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I'm a huge one of the musical periods that I'm the biggest fan of, and just art culture periods in general is the 60s and like the mid to late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of music is missing that sort of message or passion or even just topical sort of songs today. I feel like it's missing that, and I feel like people don't really have a lot. Well, we do have a lot to write about, but they're just not really writing it or including, topics of the year in their music.
Yeah.
But I stand for, like many things, from environmental
Mm-hmm.
challenges to a whole list of things. I don't know, just anything ethical that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this can kind of tie into what we were just talking about. But what artists do you guys kind of admire that really have a good sense of talking about really important meanings behind their work? It doesn't have to be like social justice necessarily, but what artists do you think have a really good job of providing meaning to their work? Brandon, can you think of any maybe that kind of on top of your head, any artists that your band is influenced by or really has a meaning to their work that you like?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest ones that stand out to me are probably like Bob Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Always very, very good at explaining how he feels and explaining what his songs really mean. John Lennon too, especially right when he became solo.
Yeah.
More recently, like not so recently, but like people like Elliott Smith. I'm trying to think of some others, even Julian Casablancas of the Strokes.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole first album is pretty much like a day in the life of being young and kind of living in a major city. And I just feel like they really capture in their writing and in their music the messages they want to convey, and they do it in a really great job.
Mm-hmm.
Really great.
Yeah. Now, Ashton, what are maybe some artists that inspire you?
I don't know how much their lyrics are meaning, but Blink's a huge inspiration of ours. But I would definitely say like John Lennon, those guys are amazing that you just said, Brandon.
Yeah.
But then as far as what influences our style, everything, we have Offspring, Sum 41. Those kind of bands are who we listen to. No, some bands kind of get political, and we try not to we walk a fine line on the political stuff just because it's a very touchy subject.
Absolutely.
But I do believe getting your message across and what you feel and stuff. But as far as influences, I mean, just that whole.
Yeah, Blink-182 is a great one. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, Karleh, I know you said you're really interested in kind of social justice. So is there any maybe artists that kind of inspire you that maybe do this kind of work or different work?
So, well, my number one is Marvin Gaye. I think The Ecology is like one of the most like amazing albums ever put out ever. I think also Stevie Wonder does a good job of this. But Marvin Gaye's like I listen to that record all the time because I'm like, especially Mercy Mercy Me. I think he just really and I remember someone told me the story of when he wrote that album, but I think he was like fighting in the Vietnam War and he came home and like he came home to America and like things were just so different and he like didn't understand what was going on and then he struggled with addiction and he just really put all of that into that album and I really admire that and I'm inspired by it because I want to do something like that. I also like how that album is like one long song. If you ever listen to it, like every song just feeds into the next one. And I'm really interested in doing something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as social justice, I mean, I agree with Brandon. I feel like there's not like at least things that are more prominent in the media right now are just not carrying the weight of the message that like people are looking for and that like are close to home for people. So I'm kind of like always looking for that and I'm like always trying to figure out like how to write in a way that will like convey these messages without like alienating the listeners. I don't really know, but I think like because of this global crisis, I feel like we're moving more into that direction of like people looking for more meaningful music.
Yeah, I really hope so too. Other than like the very stereotypical pop hits that are just like, you're just like, oh no, this is just not good.
It's the same thing over and over again.
Exactly. So that was actually our last question for the day. We are out of time for today. I'm so lucky to have had you all on. If you guys are at home watching this roundtable with Vienna Whyte on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button to be notified about our shows. We have our shows Monday to Friday, so there's always content to watch. This conversation will also be in podcast form on Spotify, so just look up Vienna Whyte Podcast. Now, before we sign off, could I get you all just to say your name, your band that you're with, or your artist name, and then just social medias of where our audience can find that. Ashton, can you start it off?
Yeah, I'm Ashton from a band called Another Year Unknown. We are on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere you can think of. Instagram and Facebook, it's just at Another Year Unknown. Twitter is Another Year, and like UNKN.
Awesome. Perfect. And Karleh, where can our audience find you?
Okay, I'm Karleh. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is Karleh Wilson, so it's just Karleh Wilson. You can also look up my new book that I just released. You can just go to overcomingipv.com and you can find all the information there.
Awesome. And Brandon?
My name is Brandon from Spain, in Toronto, Canada. And you can find us on social media everywhere, Spotify. On social media, our handles is The Fame Live, so at The Fame Live.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.